Hey, what's up,
Hey,
Jen?
hey, hey. How you
Hey,
doing?
Lana. Good, good, good. Our boy
Welcome
Aid
back
is in,
to
is in the
Lockdown
chat.
Live.
Yeah, welcome, guys. Welcome, guys. We're doing another
Hey,
one.
people. Welcome back, guys. Hey, Aiden. Hi, Vicky. How are you guys doing?
Y'all doing good?
Um,
Another one
another one.
with the great
Okay,
poet DJ Khaled.
Joseph, would you like to tell the audience today a little bit about what we're going to be doing today? Let's give a little rundown to
Yeah,
our audience.
if you joined us last week, we have started a sub project, a little something new that we wanted to test out, and so far it's been working out great. So we do have a podcast called Multispective, where we interview people and they share their experiences, maybe professional and maybe their personal stories. But we've created something during lockdown, and we call it Lockdown Live. And this is what we have birthed out of Multispective. So Lockdown Live is basically just a recap of our experiences in Shanghai being in lockdown, and we invite people and we invite our friends who would like to share their experiences in lockdown. Would you like to say anything else about Lockdown Live, Jenica?
Yeah, this is a special sort of series to put together because we actually got quite a lot of requests from people who listen to our podcast and our episodes to actually, we did kind of have to like put a pause on our episodes for for a bit there because we were not able to get the equipment that we needed, and it all just happened. So the studio space is inaccessible to us right now. So we thought, hey, look, like if we're going to put that on a pause for a bit, why not continue with something that there is such a demand? And so we decided that we would even try to continue sort of along the stream of what we usually do, interviewing people, calling people on, and having conversations with them, except this is a little bit lighter, more light humored, more fun, and it's more relevant to what's sort of going on right now. I think people kind of around the world are curious to see what's going on the inside of Shanghai because we are all over the news. And I feel like at times, I mean, of course, they portray the bigger picture as to what's going on, but sort of having that one-on-one intimate conversation with people within the city can give a different kind of perspective as well to the experience. And it is very different for every single person that's living here, and I think that's because the communities are different, the districts have different rules and laws. I mean, the whole experience for everyone is quite different. So yeah,
Yeah,
but
definitely.
for those of you that have not heard about Multispective and what we do otherwise, our episodes, we are going to post the links below. And that
Yeah,
is so you can subscribe to our pages, Facebook, Instagram. We're mainly a podcast platform, right? So we are available on Apple, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and Joseph, anything to add there?
yeah. So the way Lockdown Live will work, our format, what we'll usually do. So the first segment would be our story of the day. So it would be stories based around Shanghai and different experiences that are happening in Shanghai. And after we do our story of the day, we're going to get to our main part. And it's when we invite a guest to our show and we do a
Hey, I'm not sure if this is if I'm still here. Yes, I am. I think Joseph got disconnected. Yes, so we do have a story of the day followed by an interview where we have a very special guest here today, who's a really good friend of ours as well. The story of our day. Hashtag don't eat me. Those of you that are in Shanghai, you probably are aware of this story. Does anyone here know what this is about? There we go. Hi, Joseph. Welcome back.
hey. Yeah,
We're
sorry.
just about to start the Don't Eat Me story.
Okay, here,
Yeah,
let me share the screen real quick.
I think Joe just had it on for a minute ago. So, Don't Eat Me. This was something that actually went pretty viral. I think that a lot of people are now tuning in online, on technology, on their phone, on their computers. And so, obviously, things are spreading really fast. This Don't Eat Me sort of, I guess it's a hashtag now almost, right? It started out, I don't know if you guys can see this very clearly. It was one of the group communities in Shanghai now. I think in order for people to sort of get certain messages across as to whether to go down for COVID testing or, for food group orders and purchases. Yeah, exactly. A lot of people have organized group chats for their building, and that's sort of where they just like communicate about anything related to what's going on in the lockdown. And so this was one very unfortunate conversation that happened. Joseph, do you want to read it to everyone or tell us about it?
Yeah, so I mean, as you could see, people are they're a little worried about getting their food, and people are they're facing some tension. So we have this 504 guy who jokingly says, "Let's eat the black guy on the 7th floor." And then he would say that there would be food enough for days. And then you see that he replies and he says, "Don't eat me." Of course, this is all in Chinese. And the thing is, in WeChat, you can translate messages in Chinese. So everybody in that group chat didn't think that Jacoby would understand what he was saying. And basically, he doesn't want to be eaten. So he says, "Why do you want to eat me?" And the
Yeah.
thing is, this story went viral and it became a huge meme in Shanghai.
Yeah. I have to say though, I feel like the way that Jacob Z sort of took it, he really shouldered it like a champ because of the way he was just like, like, why do you want to eat me? Like, don't eat me. And then it turned into like a very humorous sort of thing, isn't it? But I guess a lot of people took it quite differently. I mean, a lot of people, when it started spreading, some made fun of it and laughed about it, and some, it sparked some kind of conversation, didn't it?
Right. Yeah. And yeah, so what were your thoughts on it? How did you feel when you first saw that?
Well, that's what I said. I really thought that Jacob Z really took it like a champ because, it could have very quickly, gone down south very fast. But, he turned it into like a humorous thing and, it did spread like wildfire. And this guy then went ahead to like message him privately and was like, bro, we're going viral. Like, what's going on? I think that personally, I don't feel like that the guy that wrote that message really had the intention to really offend or hurt someone. I think for him it was just like a joking kind of situation. I think that intention for me, I would say it really matters. The action, of course, is a huge thing, but then when you actually dig deeper and you understand sort of like where the person was coming from, it kind of lightens the blow, or it can make things, way bigger than it is. I don't know. What do you think on that?
I don't know. The way Jacoby was replying and responding to the guy, it seemed like they were friends on the chat group, but I don't know. It just seemed so passive. And I know when I was looking into the story, that wasn't the first time the guy tried it. He even tried the joke a second time because there are multiple group chats. This was just a group chat within his apartment complex. But then, of course, you have a group chat with the entire compound. And he tried to do the joke a second time,
Mhm.
but it didn't work out well for him. Like everybody was basically telling him like, you shouldn't be talking this way about our neighbors. We should be sticking together. And it was sweet to see that because you can see that the community does understand that it's not something to make light of, like eating your
Yeah.
neighbors, you know?
Yeah.
So, I mean, it was sweet seeing that part of the story, but yeah.
He did go on to posting into his WeChat moments, which is sort of like your main page or notification page, that it was all a joke, and this guy and him are actually friends, and no need to take things so seriously. But I do think that also like Shanghai is a very international forward city, and they understand the concept of like offensive comments or like racism, for example. And so, yeah, it is good that they sort of addressed it. Perhaps he really did do it in humor, but actually, this might have been the first time that he understood and realized that, oh, like this is a sensitive topic, and there are lines that you can't cross, right?
Right,
So,
right.
I wonder if this happened in other cities, like smaller cities or smaller provinces in China, how it would be sort of understood or taken.
Mm.
Yeah.
But I mean, it did take Shanghai by storm, and like it's a huge meme now. They've got T-shirts with hashtag "Don't Eat Me." It's it's pretty national now. He's a
Yeah.
national treasure, Jacoby.
Yeah.
Hopefully, we can get him on Multispective one day. That would be great.
Yeah, that would.
I'd love to chat it up with him.
Yeah. Okay, now drum roll to have
Yes.
a very, very special guest on the show. We would like to invite.
Yeah.
Ta-da!
And Stacy.
Hi guys.
Hey,
Hey,
Stacy.
welcome. How are you doing?
I'm doing okay. How are you guys?
Wonderful, wonderful. So
Hanging in
excited to have you here to be part of the
Yeah, I'm happy to
project.
be here.
there. We were just talking about this earlier. Like, I really love what you did with your hair. Would you like to
Oh
tell
yeah,
us
that's one of
how?
the 52 days with no makeup and no hair done.
It is
It's a special occasion.
Right? I have to
I
say,
did
like,
mine too.
Work
yeah, last week was the first time that I had put my face on, and for a while I was like, I don't even know what I'm doing anymore. Like muscle memory doesn't quite work that way.
You know, the dog doesn't care, so I don't
Yeah,
really bother
exactly.
with it.
Oh my God, loving this love. There's so many great comments over here. Stacey, are you able to see the comments people are writing?
I can.
Yeah, we have Vicky
Always
here.
great.
Max is here.
Yeah.
Guy is right.
Aiden.
So actually, to follow up from the conversation that we were having earlier, you know, Shanghai has been home for a lot of us. Many of us have been here for several years. Do you feel like this whole lockdown situation has kind of emphasized or highlighted the fact that we are foreigners in a foreign land? Have you had any experiences like that?
I think it depends on how long you've been here. That's one of the questions. Like I've started sort of posting a daily journal about things that happen every single day, new experiences, how many tests I've had, just keep people at home updated. And one of the comments I get almost every single post is, "It's time to come home. Why aren't you coming home?" For me, lockdown hasn't really changed that this is home. I mean, I've been here for 9 years, right? So 9 years worth of people and memories and things and a career. So for me, I don't know. I think this is just one more thing that you say, you know, you've decided to live in another country and you abide by their rules. I don't have to like them, right? But I do know a lot of people who have been here for a much shorter amount of time who are just it's changed their entire perspective of them wanting to be here. You know, people leaving their contracts early, just booking flights and saying, "See you later, I'm done." So, yeah.
Have you at any point considered maybe wanting to leave? Like, was there ever any point during this lockdown where you felt like, oh no, can't do anymore?
Not really. Like my lockdown has been like smooth sailing compared to a lot of people. So we're supposed to stay inside, but we're allowed to go out and get packages and take out our trash. So everybody sort of takes the long way around, I guess. I've been able to order food and water, Diet Coke. Aiden said Stacey's been locked down since 2013. It feels like it's been 52 days. It feels like it's been forever. But in those 52 days, I've never said, "Okay, this is it. I'm done." I don't know. No, I'm staying busy, and I think that's like the main thing. It doesn't give me time to think, "Oh, what if? What if? What if?"
Do you think you are now like you're able to handle a lot more because of this lockdown? Like for me, when I first came to China, there was like so many roadblocks for me with language barrier and just like being, you know, with like presented with all this new stimuli, and it was really hard to adapt. Do you think now that like you've gone through living in China for like 9 years and now you have this lockdown, do you think you as a person has like more grit because of it?
Yeah, I mean, it's the same when you move to a new country, right? When people move to China, the first thing I say is, you know, do you have patience? If you don't, you should learn them very quickly. And I think it's the same with lockdown, right? That the first 2 weeks, it was sort of like, it's just, you know, it was sort of similar to 2020 when we all came back from Chinese New Year. We were locked down for 2 weeks. But now, as it's gone on for almost 2 months, you have no choice but to adapt. And I think for a lot of people, it's showing them how able they are. You know, a lot of people are stuck in their own ways, but when you're faced with this new situation, for us, we don't have a choice. So I think that's part of something coming out of lockdown.
Yeah. Do you feel like that was a concept you were able to sort of like understand and fully sort of accept right off the bat when this first started, or is it something that's taken you time to get there?
Um, I don't mind being home, really. So I feel like, and the same as Jenica, I'm also completing my PGCE. We're right at the end. So we have all of our stuff to turn in, huge papers, assignments. So honestly, going to school every day took time away from me completing those assignments. So when we were locked down, I thought, oh, you know, perfect timing. Um, so yeah, it wasn't too bad for me actually. And like I said, I think it's because the amount of time I've been here. But had I been here a shorter period of time, I don't think I would have been able to adapt as I have.
Mm.
Yeah, for sure. Aiden asked a good question. What kind of routines do you have to
Oh,
occupy
that's
your
a
time?
great
You
question.
mentioned PVCE. What else?
Routines, I depends on the day, depends on when I teach. That's going to be part of leaving lockdown. That's going to be the huge change, I think, because right now it's sort of just move at my own pace. I'm not a morning person. Although my friend Joseph here is trying to make me change that, join in the workout group.
Yeah,
Um,
workout group. Shout out to you guys. And Stacy is a
um,
new member, and you've
I'm a
done
new member.
day 2.
2 days in a row I've done. I couldn't even carry my orange juice up the stairs today. Um, no routine. I mean, like, I really don't have a lot, you know, wake up, breakfast, but I can shower between classes if I don't want to shower in the morning. Um, Basically just making sure I have, my list of a very detailed list of things that I have to do when they have to be done, and I sort of just go down the list, and that's sort of my routine. Like I said, I think getting out of lockdown, that's going to be a bigger shock for everybody, is trying to
Mm.
actually follow somebody else's schedule instead of following whatever we want to do our own.
Yeah, for sure.
So PGC is a pretty intensive program, and I know that you have all the time in the world now because you're in lockdown. Like,
Yeah.
my question is, like, how do you find the motivation to like just sit down and do that work?
Deadlines.
Lots of-
No, like I said, I'm very big on to-do lists. So I
Mm.
have a to-do list, and it's color coordinated with due dates for everything. And basically, in the morning, I get up, I look at my iPad and say, oh, you have a paper due in 14 days, you should probably start it. And then whatever takes priority, I
Yeah.
sort of force myself to sit down and do it. Maybe, work for 2 hours and then reward myself with watching a show,
Mm.
like Ozark.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Priorities. Let's get into that a little bit.
Mhm.
So we've established that PGCE at this point obviously is a priority because the deadlines are like, looming and they're close by.
Mhm.
They're just heavy on our shoulders right now. But do you feel like there are other things that you try to, maybe things that you had prioritized or had been doing routinely before that have fallen out, or that you've picked up new priorities in this last few?
I can tell you I've lost priorities. Like I said, getting ready, showering on a daily basis. Cooking has become a new priority, which I didn't realize how much I ordered out until I've cooked every single meal for the last 52 days. Um, I mean, new in the last 2 days, like Joseph got me into this workout group. So I'm making that a priority. I mean, if I have the time. Um, and I think planning for school has been another thing that I've taught the same grade for 3 years now. So my planning sort of, I know what I'm teaching. I know what worked last year. I know what didn't. I know how to adjust. But now being online, you have to convert everything to online. And so sort of adjusting all of that has become a new priority that that I didn't really have before.
Yeah.
Earlier today in our workout group, you talked about a little bit about your OCD and how OCD kind of like helps you. It's like almost a superpower. The way you explained it, I just thought this is something that I want. Like how does your OCD? How would you describe your OCD, and how does it help
I
you?
just like today in the workout group, I was talking, like saying, somebody said, "Oh, I hope you stick with it." I was just saying, like May 1st was a Sunday. So that's the start of the week. It's the 1st. All my rings on my Apple Watch are filled. And now it's going to be like, okay, the next day has to be filled, and the next day, to see like if I can fill that whole month. I'm not going to want to have one circle, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Cleaning the same way. On my iPad, I have in my to-do list app, I have it set up, every single room with every single thing that has to be done. And then I go room to room and I check each one off. Each week, like each day of the week, I pick a different room and I do that room. And then on Sunday, I do every room again. I don't know. It's just being organized and color coding everything. And my brain is all over the place most of the time. So having these lists and color coding and checking, and if I didn't, I would get nothing done. Everything would be late. I'd never show up to anything.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I first met you, I think it was in 2018. And like when I first met you and I seen how organized you were, it was scary. Like I thought I had my life together, but then when I looked at you, my life's a mess. Like the way you coded everything, the way you had your lesson plans. We were teaching in kindergarten, and you basically ran the school because the school had no sense of organization, and everybody just like looked up to you, and you had that leadership quality. Oh man, Montessori.
I miss that job though. I miss us sitting around and
Not doing
a whole
anything,
lot of
right?
nothing for a long time.
For an entire year, and we got paid a full salary. That was the life.
Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah, we definitely took advantage, Stacy, for sure. We'll just keep it at that. We won't give the crazy
Don't give away the
details.
secrets.
But it was so much fun.
Mira, what's your specialty meal that you cook, Stacey?
Ooh.
So Max, my new favorite thing to do is make pasta sauce because I hate tomatoes. And I feel like that's a thing that I keep getting sent from like the government, and the people in my building will just knock on my door and say, "Oh, we got you all these tomatoes." And I can't eat them. So I've been making a lot of pasta sauce and chicken parm. That's been my,
Ooh.
and
So you're
grilled
making
cheese.
this pasta sauce from scratch?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Have you tried to experiment with any different kind of like sauce? Something that's not your typical like white sauce or pesto or something?
Not really. I made like a garlic lemon shrimp thing, like at the beginning. But I did experiment with adding a carrot to my pasta sauce this time.
Interesting.
Yeah, delicious.
There was this one time I was like sort of running out of like sauces, and I started to make like my own white sauce pasta, but like, typically you would need like cream and like certain ingredients to like thicken it. And I didn't have the right ingredients. So I decided to make, the Japanese curry. And I made that gravy. Instead of having it with like rice, I had it with pasta, and it turned out to be really good. Just
okay,
like,
I'll keep that in mind. I think I'm getting so creative. I'm also getting like from the government boxes, we're getting sent all of these Chinese vegetables that I've, number one, some of them never seen in my whole entire life. And others I've eaten at restaurants but not ever cooked them. So that's a whole new, like that. Did you guys get is it called Keltis?
Celtis,
Yes. I don't even know how to use that.
That as well. Turned out to be quite yummy though. It was quite delicious.
Yeah, I've had it in a restaurant. I just didn't know what it was called, because every time you translate something, it's Chinese green vegetable, and you're like, okay, well.
Yeah, it was really interesting. do have to go move to the last segment of the evening. Because
Before we do, one last question. When this lockdown ends, how do you want this experience to change you being locked down?
Ooh, that's a good one. I don't really want to change, I guess. Like, I'm happy with who I was before lockdown. Maybe like taking for granted being with people. Like I told you guys before, Stefan is stuck in Anhui, so he's not here. And I think at least for like main campus and a lot of primary, we would go to 8 Pints often, right? And while that's all fun, I think I took it for granted that we went so often and got to see each other all the time. And so I think maybe leaving this, not taking, that face-to-face interaction, all the social stuff we're able to do, the freedom that we have here. I mean, when it's not lockdown time, right? Shanghai's an amazing city. There's everything to do. There, you can go anywhere. There, honestly, I feel like there's not a lot of rules. So maybe just not taking all of that for granted and being in the moment and appreciating what I have.
I love that. Yeah, you don't know what you've got until it's gone, right?
Yeah,
it's true.
It's gotta learn how to appreciate it at the moment. That's
Mm.
beautiful. I love that, Stacey.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Always constantly learning from you.
Yeah. Thanks for spending some time with us today.
That was great.
Yeah.
Love Stacey.
So much to learn for sure.
So now that our interview is done, we're going to move on to the next segment. This is the viewer segment. So we've got a couple of questions for our viewers. Maybe you guys can communicate in the chat group, and maybe you can throw out your answers. We'd love to hear from you. So one of our first questions is, what are your highest and lowest moments during this lockdown experience? Maybe you can tell us yours first, Jen. What is your highest and lowest?
I haven't actually spent very much time thinking about this, but I would say I don't think I've had like one particular highest or lowest moment. Definitely when I realized that I was done with my lesson plans, I was like, this is like a whole other high that I can't explain to you, because I've been having to write lesson plans for a year now, over 200 lesson plans. And I think when I got to that last one and I submitted my last one, I was like, hallelujah, I'm not going to write another one now for like ever. That was a good, it was like more of like a sense of achievement, feeling like, because I think for me, I need to always be really productive and feel like I'm doing something with my life that is like leaving some kind of an impact, or like being a productive member of society, basically. And I think that with this whole lockdown, it kind of became a little harder. So knowing that that was done, having that feeling of like I have achieved and I am done with something, that was kind of like, it reignited that excitement. Yeah, I would say that's probably one of the highest.
Aiden says his highest moment was a video call with his mom. Aw, moms know it. They're the best. The lowest, my rooftop getting banned. What do you mean? What's? I think I've actually heard about this. This was a Longshan thing. For those of you who don't know what Longshan is, it's a community in Shanghai, and they have their own apartments, and they are a pretty huge community. I love them. Like, I love my Longshan people. But apparently their rooftop got banned because they had a bunch of people like having a barbecue on this rooftop, being super loud, and people were just pissed. So I guess they shut it down. I'm so sorry. Yeah, I know I have a friend who has a dog, and that was like the only way his dog can get rid of his waste. But now that the rooftop is gone, a spiritual connection with that rooftop. I feel you, brother. I feel you.
Vicky, you said friend's online funeral.
Oh.
Yeah, I feel like that's a really difficult one. I mean, like, I think the idea of, like, losing someone, and especially not being able to go there, be there for them, and be there around them and their family, it's a really tough one. Sorry that
sorry that you had to go through that, Vicky.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nice. Guys, during this viewer segment, you guys can also ask your own questions. We'd love to hear your questions. We know you guys are all part of the Multispective community, and our community is based on, asking great questions. So if you have any, please put them in the chat.
Yeah.
Would you
All
like
right,
to go?
let's address the second question that we have.
What is our
What are
second?
some things that you have realized that you don't really need? Yeah, this is probably more referring to like some of the physical things, right? Like the materialistic things that you have that you haven't really used, you don't really need, you can probably live without. I feel like being like minimalistic, I think at this time is, coming to the forefront of a lot of people's minds. What do you think, Joseph?
Yeah, I mean, knowing that I can't get everything. I mean, when I wasn't in lockdown, I was able to get anything in Shanghai. Really, it was easy because you had Taobao and you could have just ordered literally anything. It'll come to you in like 2 to 3 days. But now, like some things that I realize that I don't need anymore. I mean, I haven't used my scooter in so long. I love, like, one of my favorite things is just riding around Shanghai in my scooter. I mean, it's more like a moped. Scooter is
Yeah.
kind of downplaying it. It's pretty fast and it's really nice. Just riding down to 8 Pints, riding down to a friend's place and just enjoying the open road. I mean, I don't need it now because I have no place to go. But
What do you think? It's like, name me something you think you can like throw away that
right
like
now,
now that you've been spending so much time at home, like you're basically utilizing and using everything or as many things as you can at home, like as many resources that you have at home, right? So what are some things that you've just found like, oh, like I've had this, I bought it, I had it, I thought maybe I'd use it, and I just never really did.
yeah,
But you're going to use that scooter again, like the moment the city opens, right? So it's not
you're
something
right.
you throw away.
You're right. I'm trying to think. I don't know. I don't have much things to begin with. Like my place is already pretty empty. Like literally, I own that table. That's my only single item that I own.
Yeah.
Like I'm trying to think about something that I no longer need. What about you? Maybe you have a better answer to that question?
Why don't we throw this question to the audience?
Oh, I feel like that. Linda said you don't need to order so much food. That is true. Like,
Actually, that
okay,
is so true.
why my deliveries? That was like the key way I would feed myself. The only way I would feed myself sometimes because it was so convenient. But now, I mean, cooking is like one of my favorite pastimes. I enjoy cooking so much. And it helps me, relax, and it helps me like get away from it all and just focus on the ingredients. And I guess I never had the chance to do that because I was able to like order from Alama or like all these apps and just have the food delivered to my door. So I guess, yeah, I agree with Linda.
Yeah, that's a really good one. What about if we turn this question around and we say, what are some things you realize that you could use or that you could benefit from having that you haven't had? Aiden obviously said salt and pepper. That's
Salt
a good
and
one. Salt and pepper. Didn't have it, need it now. Good one.
Aiden was telling me about this one spice that he had, and like he says he can put it on anything and it would just intensify your food. I forget what Aiden was talking about. It was some spice, and he was basically eating that itself. Aiden, maybe if you can remind us what it was. It was a spice, and it just cracked me up when he told me about this spice that you were eating. It was orange salt. Was that what it was? I thought it was something else. Orange salt. Never had that. The worst was the dispensable things for delivered food. Do you mean like disposable like forks and spoons, like cutlery? Dispensable.
The worst was the dispensable things. Yes. Yeah. So whenever you order delivery and stuff, like they always give you like a set of plastic forks and spoons. But they do have that option in most of the restaurants to like not include that as well, right?
Like literally my drawer is just filled. I have a single drawer filled with that. That's one thing I don't need. That's like one thing I can get rid of, I guess.
There was a good question that was asked earlier, so I'm going to just like scroll down and ask it again. It says, what's the goal of fitness for you to walk out of this lockdown and getting back to real life?
What's the goal of fitness for you to walk out of this lockdown and getting back to real life?
Fitness goals.
Like fitness goals.
Mhm.
I guess to be healthy, I guess. For me anyways. I mean, sure I would want the six pack and sure I want to like look great, but just extending my life through a more healthier lifestyle. And I enjoy working out because, you know, you sometimes do it with your friends. We have this workout group, like shout out to the workout group. But just being, you know, physically in shape to be more healthy.
Hmm.
Oh, thank you, Aiden. You look great too. What about you? What are your fitness goals?
I think for me, the longest time I had my fitness goals were very physical. It was always like once I hit this goal, once I hit this weight, once I start to see cuts, once I start to see certain things on my body, then I will like have achieved that. But I agree with you in that I think that for me it should be for a lot of people, or at least for me, it should be a mindset thing because I don't want to just stop once I achieve my physical goals. I don't want it to be one of those things whereby, and I'm the kind of person that really works towards goals and then like I take a chill pill and like I don't want to find myself like achieving or hitting that goal and then just like kicking back so far that it's hard for me to go back into it. Like I'm trying to like change the goal for me to be more sustainable, more long term, more ongoing, so it's more of a mindset thing. I want to
Right.
do it because it makes me happy. I want to do it because it calms me down. It's self-care,
Mm.
self-love. And that way, you start to really make it a part of your lifestyle. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree completely. I feel like ever since I was a pretty big kid when I was younger, and I mean, I loved my sodas, I loved my burgers, so I got pretty big. But for me, like whenever I wanted to get fit, I would always try to get into those 90-day programs. After 90 days, you'll be good. And once I
Yeah.
reach those 90 days, that's it. I don't have to do this anymore. But then you realize it is a lifestyle. If you want to
Yeah.
continue to like live great, like you need to change the lifestyle. And it's great when you do have like partners who hold you accountable. So like, you know, the workout group, shout
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
Um,
Allison raised a really good point. 10,000 steps a day. Hard to
hmm,
do not being able to walk outside or go to work. Yeah, that's a really fair point as well. I think like 10,000 steps a day is easy to achieve in a place like Shanghai because so much space to walk around, but it's near impossible to achieve that at home. Yeah, I find like there are days where I can barely even hit 100 steps. Just so embarrassing.
I have this one friend who's a runner, and he used to run almost every day when it was lockdown, and he would do like kilometers, like 10 kilometers. He would do a lot. Uh, right now, what he's doing is he's just like running in place, and that's how he's getting his steps. Like literally just
Wow.
running in place and getting
And
his
there's a
steps in.
will.
Very interesting. He just
Yeah.
posted a video recently, and it was him in the Dabai suits, you know, the white suits that
Oh,
these
yeah.
people wear. He was wearing it so he can like insulate the heat and sweat more. And I was
Yeah.
just like, wow, that's an ingenious way to do it. But
Yeah.
how boring would that get? Just like doing it in place.
That's like when there's a will, there's a way, right?
There's
You
a
can make
will.
whatever happen if you
When
want.
there's a will, there's a way.
Mhm.
I think we had another question for our audience. Did we do?
What is something you've learned during this
Hmm.
lockdown?
What is something you've learned during this lockdown? What is something you've learned, Jen? Any
Mm,
new hobbies you've been getting into? How's that book,
I
by
think
the way, the
for
body
me,
book?
most of the learning, yeah, no, it's good. It's good. It's good. Like I've had to pause it because I've got this assignment that's due very soon, so I'm just trying to work through that. But I think that for me, more of the learning is just self-awareness, maybe just being more in tune with myself, realizing and understanding that like I can work through things like on my own, um, that I don't. I mean, I don't know. It's not necessarily like a sad realization. It's more just like understanding and accepting that I can be one with my thoughts and I can spend more
Mm,
time processing things on my own, and that going out, meeting people will be an added bonus, but that if like if I don't get that chance to go out again, that I can be great enough company on my own, kind of thing, right?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That was
Eden learned quite the opposite.
how much I value spending time with people.
Yeah. No,
I've
for
learned
sure. And I think that when we do get the chance to go out, it's like that's one thing that I'm looking forward to the most, which is spending time with like everyone else and all my good friends and stuff. But I think it's also kind of like this whole reverse thing, right? Like learning to also spend time with yourself and sit in the silence and be okay with it. Really.
I agree.
Talk to myself. Yep. What about you?
I mean, you gave a profound answer. I was just gonna say I learned a lot through cooking videos. Like
Ah,
recently, I've been watching a lot of Bon Appetit. It's a YouTube channel, and
yeah.
they just like it's all these professional chefs, and they talk about cooking. But when they talk about cooking, they talk about it, and they like make analogies about how food relates to life. It's all really great, and just
Yeah.
like watching all these other chefs,
Yeah,
it's
for sure.
it's amazing. That's what I've been like binge watching and
Yeah,
just
you gotta
learning.
send us some like recipes, bro. Like this is gonna be, useful. These are
Oh,
useful skills.
oh, for sure, definitely.
Oh,
Yeah,
thanks, Lori, for sharing that. That's really sweet. Yeah, having good friends to share and communicate with sounds like something all of you rely on and value.
very true, Laurie.
We are human. We are social beings, right? And it's
Um,
really true.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's great that we have this platform where we can do this, right?
Yeah.
Where we can all just
Sure.
communicate as a community,
Mhm.
and we're all in the same boat. I mean, in Shanghai at least, but I'm sure you guys can also relate. Maybe you're not locked down physically, but maybe locked down in different ways. I
Yeah.
like that, Laurie.
Yeah. To the rest of you guys, like, what do you think? What are some things that you have learned? Like, does anyone here have something they'd like to share about their experiences or their learnings? I really like Aiden's answer as well. I feel like you've always, like, Aiden has kind of always valued his time with his friends. Like, it's always been something.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
mom. Hey,
Oh,
mom. Aw.
that's so sweet.
No, of course, Aiden is like one of the most social creatures, and
Yeah.
he's just fun to be around with. If you guys
Yeah.
don't know Aiden, hopefully we can get Aiden on the podcast soon. I'd love to. Oh, I think that was his question. He asked a really good question. His question was like, if you can have any guest, what guest would you want on the show?
Aha. Yeah. I feel like anyone that's basically been in Shanghai, right, that has had the experience, because this is really about lockdown live, and you
Right.
know, it is really just like everyone's experience is unique over here. I think that the learnings, the lessons, the things that people have gone through in their lockdown, the revelations, the actual experiences with the community and stuff. Like anyone that has sort of been here that has something to share, really. No one person in particular, I'd say.
Oh, I definitely agree with that. But I mean, for the Multispective podcast, this is an offshoot of the Multispective podcast. We are a
Yeah.
podcast. Who would you want on the podcast if you could interview anybody? Who would you want?
I'm not going to throw out any names here because the people that I want, I will probably try to reach out to them and make sure that they actually do come on
Oh,
our
wow,
show.
that's a very cocky answer.
I'm ambitious. I
You're
believe in our
definitely securing
podcast.
them.
I believe in Multispective, and I believe we have something great. So
I
yeah.
like that attitude. I like that attitude. LeBron James. Oh man, if we had tracked LeBron James when he was here, can you imagine both of us just trying to get LeBron James to the podcast?
Cool. Yeah.
You
I
just
like
like push
Stacey's
us away.
comment about imagine being in this before the technology we have now. I agree with you. I think that if we are still though like imagining it as people who've already experienced the world of technology, but for a person who probably never ever experienced or lived in a world of technology, they never knew really what like we kind of know or what we experience. I think like we can't like I know that for me, like even 5 or 10 minutes away from like my phone or my computer, I'm like bored. like, what now? Like, I need something. I need some kind of stimulation. But that's also because of the environment that we're in, and that we're surrounded by so much information all the time. Like, when I'm not on my computer or on my phone, like, you'll hear a buzz, and then like my eyes will just like gravitate there. I'll just like turn to my phone. But that's because of the world that we're in now. I don't know if that's true. Like, my grandma can sit there in silence, like in her apartment, for like hours and be perfectly fine. Like, she'll just read a book and just do some prayers, and she'll be perfectly entertained. So, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't say it's ignorant, but I mean, ignorance is bliss. If you do not know what's out there, you can kind of have that sense of happiness still. I think people would be still happy. They would find a way to be happy.
Yeah.
Maybe that
Yeah, I
doesn't
think
really.
they'd be more able to spend time with themselves, whereas us, we are constantly communicating. That's a really good point. And I think that, like, just to add on to what Aiden said, I think that's one of the things that I had to learn about this lockdown as well. Like, understanding, I mean, everyone has been there for each other and spending time with each other, but also like having to like put all that aside and say, look, like, this is what loneliness really is. And like, can we be one with it? Can we be an acceptance of it, you know? And is that going to be able to continue even post lockdown, or are we going to go right back into, being that social, character that we are? But it's interesting. It's interesting. Okay, so let us go to the very, very last bit. We wanted to say thank you to all of you guys for being a part of our live stream today. We've covered quite a lot of stuff today. Stacey, thank you so much for being here with us. I know you're still here. It's been so great having you here. If you guys
Don't forget to button if you are watching YouTube, if you're on Facebook, join our group. We'd love to have you part of the community. Hopefully we're going to try to get to do this once a week, and we'll continue to updates. And we're so happy that you guys are all part of our Multispective community. I hope to see you again next week.
Yeah, we feel so blessed to have all of you guys here and supporting. Definitely do follow. And if you do follow us on Facebook or Facebook or YouTube, then it will pop up the next time we do have a live session. So you should be able to see it directly on your newsfeed. But you can follow us on Instagram as well. We're constantly posting there. And yeah.
We are at multispective.org. So if you do, our handle is multispective.org. So
yes.
Follow us.
Follow, like, subscribe, follow. And we'll keep you guys posted as well on our next, on our episode release and everything else as well. Do let us know if you would like to be a guest as well on our show, on our series.
Have you guys there.